At this point, I feel like Shiloh at this point needs to learn how to fight. I mean, it's a sad shame that pretty much everybody is just kicking his ass at this point. I mean, Jason already done choked him. Then he threw him down the stairs. Michael done pushed him on his ass. Drew has pushed him on his ass. It looks like Lucas is about to kick his ass. It's like he's just constantly getting pushed around and beat up on. Like, you would think that he would not know how to fight. I'm like, from what I've seen, he's a, muscular, he has a muscular physique about him. So I'm like, you mean to tell me you got muscles and you don't know how to fight? Because it just seems like everybody's just kicking his ass at this point. Shiloh, it's always a great time. It's always a great day to see that he's losing. Whenever he's losing, because he always has this smugness about him, because he thinks that he has everything going his way, and that's until somebody finds a way to pull the rug out from under him, which Michael pretty much did today. And I figured Michael had an ace up his sleeve, because as shocked as he was that Oscar left the stock to Shiloh, I noticed the whole time Drew and Ned were pissed off about it, Michael was sitting there very calm and quiet. He was very calm, cool, and collected. And I was kind of surprised by that. Because you would think that with Ned and Drew being pissed off and coming at Shiloh, you would think Michael would be the same way. But he was a little too calm for my taste. So I had a feeling he had some ace that he wasn't going to say yet. Until he basically reminded everybody that Oscar created a second will, which was basically a handwritten document, which gave, remember, I think he came up with a scholarship for that Kilimanjaro thing for, kids and stuff who wanted to climb or do something. And the money was coming from his ELQ stock. That's what he used to provide that grant. I think it was brilliant. That Kilimanjaro scholarship basically just saved them from having to give Shiloh the 6% of the ELQ stock. Brilliant. That was brilliant on Oscar's part. Thank God. Even from beyond the grave, he just saved the Quartermaines. But then again, like I said yesterday, even if Shiloh were to get his hands on that stock, it's not enough stock to damage the company. Like, with 6%, it's minority share. The Quartermaines as a whole has majority control over the voting shares, over the voting rights of the company. Michael alone is the single largest stockholder of the company, because Michael has 18%. He has the stock that he got, plus he inherited AJ's share. So he has 18% of the company, which is the largest shareholder of the company, because everybody else has less stock than Michael. But yeah, even with the 6%, the Quartermaines still have control over ELQ. But of course, I don't blame the Quartermaines for not wanting Shiloh to have any of their stock. I don't blame them, not one bit, because they don't want him making money off of their legacy. I don't blame them. But, Ned is not new to this. He's dealt with this on several occasions where they had gold diggers pretty much being shareholders of their company, sitting on the board, and they found ways to get rid of them. I mean, come on. Sonny had stock in the company at one point. He was a board member. Carly used to own 30% of the company. Lorenzo Alcazar used to own 30%. They've dealt with a lot of people who were not family that had percentages and board seats at their company, and they found ways to get them out. You know what I mean? So this wasn't nothing new to Ned. Ned knew how to handle it. I mean, I don't blame him for being pissed, but he knows how to deal with it. And the first step was taking it to probate court, because like Alexis said, they could take this to probate court and have it tied up in court for years. You know what I'm saying? And that benefits them, because the longer they have it tied up in court, Shiloh still wouldn't legally have access to those stocks until it was legally, dealt with, until the judge dealt with it. Also, the Quartermaines have the money to fight this in court and keep it tangled up in court. Shiloh don't have the funds to do that. He don't have the funds, not to hire some big, great attorney to help. See, the money that Shiloh skimmed off the top at dawn of day, that's only enough to help him with the custody case. He doesn't have the power or the money to go up against Quartermaines. He knows that. He ain't got that kind of influence. And I don't blame Drew for knocking Shiloh on his ass. Like, he's basically trying to exploit Oscar for his own personal gain, and Drew knew that. And I don't blame Kim for being pissed. You know, she doesn't care about ELQ, obviously. She doesn't care about the stock. You know, at the end of the day, she lost a child, and that's all she cares about. And I don't blame her. But I don't blame Monica and the rest of the Quartermaines for doing what they have to do to protect their family. And I love the way Monica stood up and let it be known. She was like, shit, this ain't the first time the Quartermaines have dealt with gold diggers, and it probably won't be the last. But they know, and like she said, all those gold diggers that came before Shiloh, they all are no longer standing. They're no longer around. And he's going to fall just like the rest of them fell. So Monica wasn't too worried about it either. Exactly. They've dealt with this situation 100 times. And they've managed to get out from under it. Just like they will do now. Because that's just what they do. You know, the Quartermaines are survivors. So moving on from that, I love the scene with Harmony finally coming to her senses to help out and put Shiloh behind bars. Because like I said, Carol's testimony is hearsay. Because it's Shiloh's word against hers. But when you throw Harmony in there, who actually has physical proof to back up what Carol said, that's enough to, you know, get a judge to get a warrant to lock Shiloh up. That's more than enough. What irritated me was they had Jason questioning Harmony. Jason's not an attorney. He's a mob enforcer. Robert or Mac should have been doing the questioning. Why would you allow a hitman for the mob to question a witness? I mean, think about it. If Shiloh hires a good attorney and the attorney finds out about that, he could possibly have that thrown out. Because you had a hitman interrogate a witness. That can be seen as coercion. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why Mac or Robert should have did the questioning. That way, can't nobody accuse them of, you know, tampering with a witness or coercion or whatever. It just made more sense to let one of them do it. Because they're officials. You know, he's the DA, he's the commissioner right now. That makes more sense. But it's about damn time Harmony came to her senses. I was happy for Harmony. I still don't like her, and, you know, I'm still pissed that she put her daughter in that situation. But it's about time that she came forward to make the situation right. You know what I mean? It's about damn time she told the truth. And she admitted to everything. She was like, basically, Shiloh, she admitted to everything we all already knew. That Shiloh has been targeting Sam from day one. We all knew that. That wasn't a shock. Everything he did was to get back at Sam. And from what I heard, the girl who plays Daisy is actually coming back, I believe, next week. So we're going to see more of Daisy for a little bit. So anyway, moving on from that. It's just a hot mess. I'm not surprised that Obrecht is basically trying to switch up and act like she never said nothing to Franco. She did exactly what Franco told Elizabeth she would do. That's why Franco wanted to get the answers out of her that night while she was drunk. Because he knew once she sobered up, she was going to clam up and not admit to anything. And that's exactly what she was doing. When he was asking her about all the stuff she was talking about at the party, she denied it. And that's exactly what Franco knew she would do. And then when she was about to tell him what she was going to tell him that night, Chase interrupts to get a statement from her. Now she's trying to change up her story, trying to say, oh, maybe nobody pushed her, she don't know, and all of this, until she heard Hayden's name. Once she heard Hayden's name, that's when she perked up real quick. It's possible Hayden pushed her. It's very possible Hayden pushed her. I just got that feeling that Valentine and Brad are too obvious, you know, as far as suspects go. It's way too obvious to have it be one of them. So I wouldn't be shocked if Hayden did it. But they don't have any proof that anybody did it. I'm surprised that Lulu doesn't have surveillance on that boat. I'm actually kind of shocked about that. But anyway, Liz and Franco are basically trying to play detective at this point, because they're trying to figure out what Lisa was talking about, and they're trying to figure out that, it all ties in with this Wiley nonsense. Well, at least they're making some type of use of Liz and Franco, putting them in the middle of something, at the very least. Shiloh was getting on my nerves when he was talking to Lucas. Like, he's basically talking about, because he went to get the DNA test, and he's talking about, once I read the results and stuff like that, have my son's stuff packed up so I could come get him. Really now? See, this is why everybody keep whooping his ass, because he got such a smart mouth. First of all, it doesn't work like that. Even if the DNA test results says that you're the father, which we all know is going to say he's not, but if it did say he was, you have to submit that information to the court. And the judge has to rule on it. You can't just say, I'm the dad, let me go get my son. That's not how that works. You have to go through the court system. Dumb. He's just so arrogant. Like, he's just so damn smug. And that's why people keep whooping his ass. And it's a shame he don't know how to fight. But anyway, I feel bad for Lucas, because once the whole truth comes out, he's going to be devastated. Then he's going to have to turn the baby over to Michael. But at least Wiley is still a part of his family. You know what I'm saying? Because even though Wiley isn't going to be his son, at least Wiley will be his nephew. So even though he's losing Wiley as a son, he's not going to be completely out of Wiley's life. So that's the good part about it. But I also can't wait for the truth to come out, so that way he could dump Brad, little sorry ass, and hopefully him and Felix could hook back up. But I just feel bad for him, because it's going to hit him like a ton of bricks when the truth comes out. I'm sure it will. But anyway, moving on from that. Hayden and Finn, listen, I love that scene. When they were at the hospital at first, and she came up in there with them little donuts and stuff. Listen, y'all gotta stop having so many sweets and treats on this show. First, y'all start out with these cakes and stuff at the wedding reception. Now y'all got these donuts. I'm like, GH, stop with the food. Because them donuts was looking good. But anyway, I love how Elizabeth was not trying to help Hayden. Like, Hayden was basically trying to call for Elizabeth to help her, so that way she could get out of trying to talk to Finn and stuff. Elizabeth was like, nope, I got to make signs for the donuts. I'm happy about that. I'm like, because you know what? It's enough for her running around trying to avoid the conversation with Finn. And she really wasn't trying to give up no information. She basically was like, me, you, Anna, and Jack should have dinner together. And like, she was just acting like nothing happened. That's how Hayden was acting, very nonchalant. But Finn is a very perceptive person, and he knew she was lying. He knew it was way more that she wanted to tell him. He know. I wish Hayden would stop playing games and tell that man that his child is alive. Like, stop playing games. I don't understand why she's keeping the child away from Finn. Like, he's not a danger to the kid. What's wrong with him being a dad? You know what I mean? Like, see, this is the type of stuff that's gonna end up, once the truth comes out, it's going to make him go for full custody. And honestly, I wouldn't blame him if he do, because you're keeping his child from him for no reason. He's not a danger to the kid. His life is together. He's engaged. He has a booming career. He makes good money. He has everything to provide for the child. So why keep him from the child? It doesn't make sense. And then, of course, Chase come up in there to talk to Hayden about pushing Obrecht and stuff. All of this is just a hot mess. I just wish Hayden would tell that man the truth, honestly. But anyway, moving on from that. I don't blame Chase, though, because when Chase was talking about, he was joking around that he should possibly join the Corinthos organization, I don't blame Chase, because the justice system is so flawed. And I know it's hard for him to see his girlfriend behind bars and stuff. But sadly, that's just how the justice system works. Like, it protects the criminal more than the victim, which is a shame. But they're going to get Shiloh. one way or another, Shiloh's going to go down. Whether he's put in prison or whether he ends up dead, I have a feeling they're setting Shiloh up for a major fall. He has way too many enemies in that town. Way too many people joining forces and everything else to shut him down. So it's like, there's no way he's going to last on this show. There's just no way. By hook or crook, he's going down. By any means necessary. I mean, at the end of the day, though, with Willow and Harmony, I hope one day they can bond as mother and daughter and get back to whatever relationship they used to have before Dawn of Day. But Harmony got a lot to make up for, because she basically pimped her daughter out and threw her daughter under the bus for some dude who didn't give a damn about her. And, you know, it's going to take a lot. You know, I just don't want Willow to forgive her so easily. Because there's no way I would forgive something like that, especially not so easily. You know what I mean? Like, she needs to suffer a little bit more before she can get my forgiveness, because she did way too much. But anyway, that was pretty much the whole episode. Hit the comment section. Let me know what y'all thought about today's episode. Peace.